Rishi Sunak. Thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. Right at the top of the show, which is, of course, exactly where someone of your stature and prominence belongs. Rishi Sunak has got to go to the public, hasn't he? Because at the moment, he's got no mandate.
The Conservatives have the mandate. We won a decisive general election victory in 2019, and we have a parliamentary system. So we have a workable majority, a substantial one. That gives Rishi Sunak the mandate.
Only if he sticks to Boris Johnson's manifesto.
An early general election is the last thing we need.
Just quickly, so Rishi Sunak will be sticking exactly to the letter to Boris Johnson's manifesto, will he? Because that was the manifesto that won you an election.
Yeah, his key focus is going to be delivering on that manifesto. I mean, in these hugely difficult economic circumstances, you know, there may be aspects of it that get tweaked, but that is the fundamental part of his programme, the 2019 manifesto on which we were all elected and we got that mandate.
Do you think it's going to be tricky for the Conservative Party to show unity? The ERG, some would say, towards the soul of that Conservative Party, your right-wing Brexiteers, well, they didn't actually back him, did they? So is the Conservative Party now soulless?
The ERG didn't take a decision to back any candidate. I'm a long-standing subscriber to the ERG, and I backed Rishi in the last leadership election and in the current one, and other members of the ERG did as well, because we recognise that the big threat to Brexit is a Labour government. So those of us who campaign to leave the European Union believe that it is crucial that the Conservatives win the next general election so we can actually deliver the economic advantages of being out of the European Union rather than letting in a Labour government who might seek to reverse that process. So absolutely, I would deny that you know, the Conservative Party has lost its way.
OK, I'm getting a lot of these emails in real time, gbviews at gbnews.uk. This one's from Corinne. Corinne says, I voted Conservative for the first time in 2019, but she doesn't want any more grey men in suits, which I'm sure she's paraphrasing a well-known statement there. Do you think that Rishi Sunak can actually win red wall seats, like the one actually that Karina said that she voted him from there? Does he go down well enough in the red wall?
I think he can win there. I think all the polls demonstrate that he is far more popular amongst the general public than the other contenders for the leadership. And the key to winning those seats is delivering on the economy, getting us through these turbulent economic times. And he has got the plan to tackle inflation and deal with that global economic crisis.
OK, is he too rich to be Prime Minister? Quite famously said that he had no working class friends.
No, we judge people in this country on their character and how they do a job. I don't think his income is related to this at all. He cares passionately about this country. He believes in this country. He's going to deliver on the Conservatives' winning manifesto because he cares about ensuring that this country becomes a better place and we get through and help people in these difficult times.
Rishi Sunak did actually vote for Brexit. Apparently in his cabinet office, although he's moving very shortly out of that one right now, he had Believe in Britain, leave spelt as in we're off, which is quite nice. Also, quite strong stuff when it comes to what's going on in the Channel. He says he'll do whatever it takes to start deportations to Rwanda. Is he more right-wing than you think people give him credit for?
He's a true Conservative. I mean, during this leadership election, you know, he's been accused of being somehow left-wing, but he is a strong supporter of Conservative values and Conservative principles, and that's, I'm sure, one of the reasons why he voted to leave, so that we could be an independent country again. And he has also recognised that we can't continue with this small boats crisis in the Channel. We have to do something about that, and the Rwanda programme is the best idea for taking that forward. That's why he's strongly committed to doing it.
There is a perception, rightly or wrongly, that he threw Boris Johnson under the bus. Is that true?
No. I'm afraid Boris made some Some serious misjudgments. I mean, I wish history had been different. I wish the whole Partygate thing had never happened. I wish those misjudgments had never been made. But they were, and Boris's position became unsustainable, and he lost more than 50 members of his government. You know, that was a political disaster, but it was not the fault of Rishi Sunak. He was not responsible for that. The Prime Minister made his own decisions, and unfortunately, in the end, they had very difficult political consequences.
What cabinet role do you want then?
I would be delighted to be asked to return to government, but I think there will be many people competing for that, so I won't be hovering by my phone.
Well, I suspect the phone might go off at some point rather soon, actually. You might have to be checking that in a second when I do finally let you get going, I'm afraid. But just quickly, would you like to see people staying in post? I mean, there is the problem, of course, isn't there, that Jeremy Hunt and Grant Shapps have only just got there. So do they stick around a little bit, or does he just go for a whole, and I hate myself for saying this, reshuffle, which apparently is the word on Twitter now?
I think it is. Well, what Rishi has said very clearly is that he wants a government that represents all strands of thinking within the Conservatives. He wants to bring us together, unite us as a party, and part of that is making sure that all those traditions are represented at the top table. I'm afraid that was probably one of the mistakes Liz Truss made, to really focus very strongly on just the people who had backed her. So there may well be people who are in post at the moment that stay in post, and of course some continuity after weeks of turbulence and shuffling. I think there is a lot to be said for that, and I'm sure Rishi will take that fact very seriously when he decides who to appoint.
Very lastly, Theresa, sorry, I know you've been sticking around a while here, but just very lastly, I want to put something to you that's come in here, which is to sack Boris Johnson because of morals, all right, to sack Truss because she'd have lost an election in massive numbers, all right, but where's the morality in not having Rishi go to the polls, because if he did right now, he'd lose?
We have a parliamentary system, and a parliamentary system depends on the mandate a party receives at the general election. We've got a workable majority. The last thing we need when we're trying to fix the economy is
more
weeks and
instability,
more of uncertainty caused by a general election.